This morning at Mass, our local bishop, Bishop Fleming, he gave a homily promoting St. Vincent de Paul and the need to help those that are living in poverty or struggling to make ends meet, which they do in Ireland. There's no doubt about it. You often see people that struggle for various reasons to pay the bills, to put food on the table, and to help to keep the show on the road. And oftentimes they will turn to food banks or charities in times of need. And it's very important that we have a heart to help those that are in need. But I just wanted to bring people into some of the statistics in Ireland regarding poverty. I think people aren't aware of this. In Ireland, Ireland has been touted as being one of the richest countries in the world per capita, if not the richest country in the world per capita. Some of the statistics that might interest people, and I'm just going to pull them up here. We spend 1 billion euros every year on illegal drugs, cocaine, ecstasy, cannabis, etc., etc. We spend another 8 billion euros on alcohol every year. And then you can add to that gambling, 1.5 billion euros on gambling every year. If you grand total up all of those figures, you're going to come to the guts of about 10 billion, just over 10 billion, and divided that by every household in Ireland. We spend between illegal and illegal drugs and gambling. Every household in Ireland spends 8,000 euros. Yes, that figure is actually right. Between drugs, both the legal and illegal, and gambling, every household in Ireland spends 8,000 euros. Now, I know I don't spend 8,000 euros. My house doesn't spend 8,000 euros, not even close. But there are some that spend a lot more, and there are some that don't do anything. I've never been in a bookies in Ireland. I've never seen a line of cocaine in my life, and there, but for the grace of God go I. But that's the grace that I've had. I haven't been exposed to too many hard drugs. But if you go up to Dublin, we were up there at the marathon and on St. Stephen's Green, and you're walking around St. Stephen's Green in the evening, all you can smell is the smoke of cannabis, pot. The kids out and they're smoking cannabis. So on the one hand, we have the living poor as such in Ireland. We have the living poor. And on the other hand, we have statistics that show us that we are spending per household in Ireland 8,000 euros on illegal and legal drugs and gambling. And we know we have a gambling problem. We know we have a cocaine problem. We are, at the last time I checked the statistics, the fourth highest consumer of cocaine in the world, or if not in Europe. I stand corrected. And any of these statistics, you're free to challenge me on them. But I did my research earlier. We then spend, get this, we spend about 1 billion euros tackling drug use and drug misuse and the loss to the economy of drug use. It's not unknown, and I've seen this myself, that somebody who is a drug addict, they don't turn up for work. They don't turn up for work. And after 2 or 3 times of not turning up for work, and this is known, well, the employer fires them. And then the employer has lost productivity because the person they employed is not doing their job, and then they have to go and hire somebody else. So there is, the last time I checked, about 650 million euros of lost productivity in Ireland because of the 10 billion plus euros we're spending on illegal and legal drugs and gambling. And to top it off, because this 10 billion euros doesn't fall out of the air that we're allowed to, that we spend this on. We have a very good social net in Ireland. You're with lots of different. Well, obviously you get an unemployment payment, but you're also getting other benefits, housing benefit, fuel benefit, and so on, in order so that you're not living in complete poverty in Ireland. So the fact that we have St. Vincent de Paul is really a sad indictment of our Irish society, in the sense that on the one hand we can spend over 10 billion on drugs and gambling, Then we have to spend another 200 million dealing with drugs. Every day somebody dies from alcohol poisoning. Every day somebody dies from a drug overdose in Ireland. That's a fact. We know that. The deaths from alcohol in Ireland are, what, 4 per day. And then you add on to that the depression and the suicide. I know people that live in addictions. And I'm just going to share you one story. And it's not, I'm not here trying to shine a light on Robert's great, the stuff he's doing. I just feel, if you believe in our Lord and if you have faith in our Lord, our Lord reveals himself to you, but he also shows you the fact that this gospel, this message, this Christian message is not for me. It's not for me to sit in my office here and pray a rosary and feel nice and fuzzy. It's to go out and give it to those that need it, that are desperately needed. If people knew what it is to encounter Christ, well, maybe you wouldn't be looking for a line of cocaine or a joint or to go online gambling or to go to the pub and drink yourself silly. There was this actor in the States, I think I have his name correct, Matthew Perry from Friends. And you hear all his videos and, the tragedy of his life. And he spent millions, as far as I'm aware, millions trying to get sober. And he couldn't. He died from the addiction consume him. And so many people are consumed with addiction. But anyway, I want to tell you the story of one person that I met. One day I was leaving Mass, and I try and keep the story as vague as possible. So if the person's listening to me, I don't want to divulge your personal details. But one day I was leaving Mass, and I met a man that was begging at the door of the chapel. And I said to him, "Do you not have a job? Do you not have a job?" I said, "Yeah, no, I don't have a job." I said, "Well, you're not getting social welfare?" "Yeah, but I've drunk it all and I've no money now for food." And I said, "Well, that's okay. Well, look, I'll bring you and we'll get you something to eat." So I bring him to a restaurant. We sit down and get him something to eat, try and talk a bit about, how he got into such a situation. He's not homeless. He has a home. He has money coming in every week, but he has no meaning in his life. He had no meaning in his life. He had no support growing up. He had no mentorship. He had no encouragement and support from other men to help him along in his life. Complete despair, complete emptiness. Anyway, I bring him home to his family, and his family telling me, look, that he's been in the courts and he's done this, and and if you don't have any meaning in your life, if you don't have any mentorship, support, guidance, what do you turn to? You turn to something that's going to fill the void that you're feeling, because we all need meaning in our life, especially men. And I speak as a man, and I speak from experience here. I speak from a lot of experience on the area of addictions, having lived through this a lot of my life. These addictions are a result of emptiness that we're trying to fill. People going online gambling, they're trying to fill some emptiness. People searching out a joint of cocaine, or a line of cocaine, or a joint of marijuana. They're trying to fill. Guys going online looking at porn. Guys going to the off license and drinking themselves silly. This is to fill a need in your life that's not being fulfilled anywhere else, because and they hate it. Addicts hate themselves. They hate what they're doing. They know what they're doing to themselves is doing them wrong. They wake up in the morning, they've got a hangover, and they're there, being so distraught. I remember one poor lady I met on the street. She was there with a bottle of vodka, and she was there screaming on the street. And I said to her, "Is there anything I can do for you?" And she said, "No, go away, leave me alone." And it's awfully sad. It's awfully sad in Ireland that is so affluent, and I've given you the figures. We're so affluent, and yet we're so poor at the same time. We're so poor. We have so much, don't have God anymore. And the reason I'm saying this, because I go back to the fact that our Lord Jesus Christ is real. I was there picking the grapes off the vine today, And it kept coming through that verse in the gospel, I am the vine and you are the branches. We're all connected in a way to our Lord Jesus Christ. When I meet somebody that's living in depression and addictions and loneliness, they have as much dignity and right to know the love of our Lord Jesus Christ as I have. Our Lord doesn't give us I'd say it's the number one thing that we need to do as Catholics is to give the gift that we've been given, give this gift to others. And oftentimes the thing that we don't give to those that need it is our time. That's the one thing sometimes that the other person actually needs, is our time to listen to them, to show them something greater. I was trying to work with this poor man and I was trying to get him into Cenacolo, but I needed to get him sober in order to get him up to an interview, and it just wasn't happening. And, the family were struggling with help, and what was needed is time, as actually to walk with somebody else, to show them, look, there is something greater than yourself that can heal you and help you and support you. And I suppose this is the message I'm trying to give now in Ireland as we approach the men's adoration in Derry. Our Lady didn't give me this mission in Medjugorje just to make me feel happy and to blog about it. And so isn't Robert Nugent good? No, it's to show that there is a poverty in Ireland greater than the material poverty that some people experience. Yes, if you're going to spend in your household on average, and I'm quoting you the facts here, and if on average in an Irish household we spend €8,000 on illegal and legal drugs and gambling, those are the facts in Ireland. And some families don't spend 8,000. My family definitely doesn't, but other families do. And they probably do a lot more. I know people that as soon as they get social welfare check, it's all spent on alcohol and gambling. You see the days when the highest consumption of alcohol is purchased in off license, and the highest spend in bookies. That's a fact. And yet there is something incredibly greater than all of what they're living in. And if this made people happy, if we didn't have the phenomenon of having to spend 200 million people treating people on drugs every year, or the phenomenon of over 500 men that take their lives, not to mention about the hundreds of men that die from the after effects of drugs, of alcohol and so forth. If we didn't have that tragedy and the cascade of that tragedy down to people's lives and families and so forth, I really do think Christ's gospel and Christ's message is more needed in Ireland than it ever was in any period of history. I think this gospel is so crucial, it's so beautiful. If people encountered Christ and knew the joy of encountering him and giving your life to him, and giving your will to him, and giving your effort to him, and watching the miracle of what happens when you bring somebody to Christ and he enters their lives and he transforms their lives and he transforms their soul and he transforms their prayer life. When you see the miracle of people encountering Christ, you say, that's incredible. And that's what Our Lady is trying to do. And that's why she asked, when I came back to Ireland, to form a men's prayer group in this area. And just to listen and to help and to support. We all have our gifts. We all have our talents, and we all have our way of doing things. And if we as men work together as a community in Ireland, as a church, this is the sad thing about the remains of Catholicism in Ireland. Sadly, so many of us, we'll give a donation to St. Vincent de Paul. What is needed is our time, our face, our physical presence with other men that are suffering, to show them a power greater than themselves that's able to change their life. In an encounter that is so transformative that they will never be the same again if they knew Christ. And I suppose that's the message that I feel Our Lady is trying to give to us as we move towards the adoration in Derry on the 25th of November. To commit some time of your week, 1 hour once a week. If every Catholic man committed 1 hour once a week to work with other men, especially young men, You know, the bishop mentioned young men in his homily today. Well, these young men don't just need money and food. They need our time, our mentorship and our support. We have lots of jobs in Ireland. My kids, as soon as they were 16, they were off working. My daughter is working in a hotel. My other daughter works in a restaurant. They have been working since they were 16. There is lots of jobs in Ireland. There is lots of opportunity in Ireland. There's lots of support in Ireland. But you have to mentor people, show them, help them, walk with them, encourage them, and so forth. And if this is what was done to me, you know, by many good priests. You know, I have nothing good to say about the people that helped me, mentored me 32 years ago. Father McKenna, I'll just say one priest, and especially Father William Meath, for example, great priests that helped me, mentored me, encouraged me 32 years ago. I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for those men that listened, that helped, that guided, that supported. And that's what's needed today in Ireland. And that's where Catholic men in Ireland today, you need to start to step forward and work as a team. And I go back to talk about Derry because this is what the Cursillo movement has shown me, in the sense that the format, the ability, the engagement, the structure, the get up and go, as somebody said to me, they are muscular Catholics, muscular Catholicism as it is, boots on the ground, you know, not sitting back. And that's what we can do. Because money won't solve our problems in Ireland. No matter how much money you throw at any project, if you don't, what you need to throw at a project in Ireland is hearts. Hearts in prayer. Hearts in prayer. And to know that you have, you know, the power of Christ behind a project. Christ wants to get into people's hearts. He actually does. He wants to get in and he wants to transform. And we need to start feeding people and opening them up to the great mystery and beauty of our faith, which sadly is not being done in Ireland. No matter how much money you throw at it. Government have been throwing and wasting money, billions, on projects for years that have little to no fruits from them. Because what people need is not treatments. They need a face, a heart, somebody that'll walk with them, somebody that'll help them, somebody that'll mentor them. And this is what men need: fraternity, community, bonding, support, mentorship, all of that. If you give that to some of these men that their life are completely consumed by addictions, depressions, and it's a cycle. It's a cycle that they're in. It's very hard to get them out. I know this from experience because I've spoken to people. They tell me about it. They tell me about the pain. They tell me about how they hate themselves. They tell me about the darkness. People listen to my videos. They contact me and they tell me about how that they're living. And I'm really this is why I keep going back. It's time for Irish Catholic men to step forward and to give their time. Start off with 1 hour once a week in a prayer group where men can come and get support, be listened to, get mentorship, and go forward in society. And if we reach one man, then a lot of help can be done. And as I said, 2 men reached out to me last year at that adoration, that they were suicidal and that they didn't take their life because they went to the adoration and they got confession. For some of those men, they had never had confession in their life since their first confession. Can you imagine? All because Robert put out an appeal to come to adoration in Derry. And 800 men plus did come. And, that's God's grace. God can get in there. And, I know some other of the men, they're doing Cursillo this year. I know other men that are forming prayer groups. I know other men that are coming back. And, that's Our Lady trying to lead us to our Lord. So I want to give this, this encouragement, and I want to men in Ireland. But the reality of what is needed in Ireland is men to step up and be Catholic men, and to step out and be men of mission. really important. The gospel has to drive you to mission. To those that don't know the gospel, the good news. God bless you. Take care. Bye bye.